Welcome to the training site for DERA's environmental farming scheme. This training module is an introduction to the EFS wider level option, creation of tree enhanced boundaries. You will need to watch this video, and this is followed by 4 questions that you have to answer. Further details about the environmental farming scheme are available on the DERA website. This includes the information sheet for each of the options. This training covers a number of aspects about the option. It explains what it is and the overall aims of the scheme. It suggests where a good location is to establish this option. It covers certain things that you must do and gives a list of the approved tree species for planting. It discusses the field records that are required and then covers a number of things that you must do and a number of things that you must not do to comply with the scheme requirements. It then outlines the type of checks that DERA will carry out as their responsibility for the scheme and finishes with some further practical advice to help you make a success of this project. Basically, it's a matter of planting native hedgerow trees in existing field boundaries and also putting up woodcrete bat boxes on mature trees, or else in buildings if mature trees are not available. You plant 8 native hedgerow trees from the approved list with guards for every 100 metres of existing field boundary. Tree species must be from the approved list and be planted at least 8 metres apart. You also put up 1 woodcrete bat box for every 500 metres of boundary or part thereof. The aim of this is to increase the roosting, nesting and foraging opportunities for bats and other wildlife. It will link together wildlife habitats and overall enhance the landscape. Where might you establish this option? Well, you should choose an existing hedgerow which has no or few gaps and also has few hedgerow trees. Regarding the amount of option, the amount that is detailed in your agreement is the amount that must be done. Overall, in the scheme, there is a minimum of 100 metres continuous length, and the maximum will be as per the maximum agreement value. Certain things that you must do as part of the scheme. You must complete all works. That includes planting the native trees, protecting them with 1.2 tubular or square guards, and erecting the bat boxes. All this by the 1st of June in year 1 of the agreement. You erect 1 woodcrete bat box per 500 metres or part thereof, and you must successfully establish the claimed length of this option in the fields where it has been approved. This is an outline of the situation showing that you plant the 8 trees per 100 metres and each tree at least 8 metres apart from the next, and then you erect the 1 woodcrete bat box for every 500 metres or part of 500 metres. You must erect each bat box on a suitable mature tree or nearby farm building. You must follow the detailed specifications given in the option information sheets for native tree whip, for 1.2 metre tubular tree garden stake, and for woodcrete bat box. You need to retain the trees for the duration of your environmental farming scheme agreement, so do not cut back the trees. There are a number of things that you need to do to meet all the EFS requirements and controls, and these are summarised here. You need to plant the native trees at least 8 metres apart and at least 8 trees per 100 metres. You need to protect from grazing livestock. You need to protect each tree individually with a tubular tree garden stake. You need to plant only approved tree species. And finally, you need to maintain and manage the newly planted trees to ensure their successful establishment. If you're operating this option under the EFS higher level, then you must establish, retain and manage the option as detailed in the site-specific remedial management plan. In addition, field records must be kept, detailing the length and location of the boundary, the number and location of bat boxes, the dates work is completed, and all the management requirements carried out, including integrated pest management requirements. The field records, the field level records need to be kept each year of the works undertaken for this option and for any capital items associated with the option. You may wish to use the format shown here, which is available on the DAERA website, or you may prefer to use your own format to record the required information. Please note that there is a separate training module on record keeping, which will give you some help with this aspect of the scheme. You'll also need to keep agreement level records each year for two parts of the integrated pest management highlighted here. This means indicating, as shown here by ticking a box, that you have assessed whether there are any issues with harmful organisms or pests in the establishment or maintenance of the option in your agreement, and secondly, that you have checked and recorded what measures you have taken to protect the option from such pests. You must use tree species from the approved list, and these are the approved tree species. It is advisable to choose tree species that grow well in your own locality. Some guidelines for planting native tree whips is to keep the roots moist, to water the whips during dry spells, to make the planting hole big enough for the tree roots, to plant at the same depth that they were growing in the nursery as shown by the lighter soil mark on the stem, and plant the stems upright and firm the soil around by treading it with your heel. Weed control is very important for the planted trees, and this should be carried out before and after planting. You can use mulch or hand weeding to control weed growth, and an approved herbicide may be used if it is justified as part of the implementation of integrated pest management. DAERA will carry out a number of checks to verify that the works are completed to the required scheme standard. The range of checks for this option will be based on the requirements and controls as detailed in the option information sheet. The checks can be office-based administrative checks, or secondly, they could be technologically based checks, such as control with remote sensing, or thirdly, they could be on-site checks, such as rapid field visits or on-the-spot checks. Some of the checks that may be carried out in this option are summarised in the next few slides. DAERA will check that the tree planting and erection of the woodcrete bat boxes is completed by the 1st of June in year 1 of the agreement. They will check that the claimed length is successfully established in the approved fields and to the required specification. They'll check that the length of the option is a minimum of 100 metres. They'll check that at least 8 trees are planted per 100 metre length of boundary, and that the planted trees are at least 8 metres apart and protected with 1.2 metre guard and stakes. Other checks will be that the appropriate number of woodcrete bat boxes are in place and that they are up to specification. They'll check that the newly planted trees are not cut back. They'll check that the option is established, retained and maintained for the duration of the agreement, and that field records are completed and up to date. Some further advice is that you should attach the woodcrete bat boxes to mature trees close to the tree enhanced boundary or on nearby farm buildings if no suitable trees are present. You should plant the trees between October and March. However, do not plant trees in waterlogged or frozen soil. And after planting, keep a 1 metre diameter weed-free zone around each tree. You should use trees grown from local seed if possible, and in addition to the required number of new native trees, you should try to establish honeysuckle on the boundary so as to attract bees and butterflies. If your work is on a march boundary, you should discuss this with the neighbouring landowner. And do not plant beneath or within 20 metres of overhead power lines, close to buildings or near roadsides. Regarding the payment for this option, there is a payment rate of £1.28 per metre in the first year of the scheme, and that is the only payment for this option. This is the list of additional capital items available in association with this option. Only if these were added at application stage will they form part of the agreement. Where they are part of the agreement, you should complete the separate training module relating to the relevant capital item or items, and also consult the relevant capital item information sheet. Finally, as we come to the end of this training video, there are certain things you need to do. You must now complete the questions for this option, which follow immediately after the video. This is essential so as to register that your training on this option is complete. You should also read the information sheet that relates to this option. This is available on the lesson site and also on the EFS section of the DAERA website. And finally, if you have further options or capital items in your agreement, you can take the training for them after you have completed the questions for this option.